and blessing of Allah be upon His servant and final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As to what follows, my dear respected brothers in Islam, the beginning of Surah Al-Fajr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is right towards the beginning of it, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He spoke about what destroyed the previous nations. So He said, الَّذِينَ طَغَوْا فِي الْبِلَادِ فَأَكْثَرُوا فِيهَا الْفَسَادِ. What destroyed the previous nations was طَغَوْا فِي الْبِلَادِ فَأَكْثَرُوا فِيهَا الْفَسَادِ. They rebelled in the city, they rebelled in the land that Allah Azza wa Jalla placed them in. This is the aqwam of Ad, Thamud and Fir'aun. So were mentioned at the beginning of Surah Al-Fajr. And what destroyed them is طَغَوْا فِي الْبِلَادِ. They rebelled. In other words, they didn't obey their messengers and they didn't obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And basically they were told to do something and they didn't do it. That's what rebelling is. So they rebelled, and because of their rebellion, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَأَكْثَرُوا فِيهَا الْفَسَادِ. Because of rebellion, when enough people were rebellious against Allah and the messengers, then the equation, with the outcome of this is فَأَكْثَرُوا فِيهَا الْفَسَادِ. Lots of corruption happened in the city, and then Allah Azza wa Jalla took them فَصَبَّ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّكَ سَوْطَ عَذَابٍ, destroyed them. Now the thing is, in the middle of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He takes us back to how did the corruption begin, and how did the human being become rebellious to begin with. So He says, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ رَبُّهُ. Right? How did this nation, why did Allah destroy them? Right? Because there were so many people that caused corruption. Where did the corruption begin with? Because people rebelled against Allah. Where did the rebellion begin with? It didn't begin with a society. You know, a society in all doesn't become corrupt. When enough individuals become corrupt, then the whole society becomes corrupt. So Allah Azza wa Jalla journeys us back to where this corruption began. He says, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانِ. It began with the human being. What mentality did the human being, what belief did he have in his mind that eventually got him to where he got to, of rebellion and corruption? Allah says, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانِ إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ رَبُّهُ فَأَكْرَمَهُ وَنَعَّمَهُ فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَكْرَمَنِ. As for the human being, every single time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thoroughly tests him. Allah said, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ. It would have been enough to say, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ إِذَا ابْتَلَاهُ رَبُّهُ. But what's this مَا ابْتَلَاهُ رَبُّهُ? What's this ma doing? This ma, it means each and every single time Allah tests him. This is what مَبْتَلَاهُ means. Now the word ibtalahu, there were many other words that could have been used. إِذَا مَمْتَحَنَهُ اِخْتَبَرَهُ بَلَاهُ. So what's ibtila as opposed to all the others? Basically, ibtila is the highest form of being tested. So in the Quran you find the word imtihan. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ امْتَحَنَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ لِلتَّقْوَى. Imtihan is a form of test that doesn't involve any pain or physical harm or injuries. That doesn't cause any problems. Bala, a bala, like inna balawnahum kama balawna ashab al-jannah. A bala, there is some difficulty with the test. Ibtila, this is the highest form of difficulty, the highest form of test that will lead to pain and injury, right? So for example, for the case of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when Allah tests him, how does Allah describe Himself testing him? He says, وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيم. Ibtala, this ibtala is the highest form of test, and we know how Ibrahim was tested. He had to slaughter his son, he had to leave his family in the middle of the desert, he had to be thrown in the fire and so on. So this is ibtila, is the roughest form of test. Now, Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying, فَأَمَّا الْإِنسَانُ إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ. As for the human being, each and every single time Allah thoroughly tests him. How does He test him? Allah says, فَأَكْرَمَهُ وَنَعَّمَهُ. فَأَكْرَمَهُ. This heavy, this rigorous test Allah Azza wa Jalla places the human being is, the first of them is akramahu. He caused him to be honored. He had honor. So the people respected him. He was looked up to. He was a respected, noble, honored person in society, right? So when he went out, people would say, Yani, mashallah, this person, and they would come, they'd shake his hand, they know him, he's got a world job, he's got a salary, he's a sheikh, he has this, he teaches people and so on. Someone noble, respected in the community. That's the first, that Allah is calling this ibtila, right? I'll tell you how it's an ibtila. That's one on one hand. The other way is وَنَعَّمَهُ, right? وَنَعَّمَهُ. Allah didn't say وَأَنْعَمَهُ, He said وَنَعَّمَهُ. Na'amahu comes from the word ni'mah, which comes from the word nu'uma. He said nu'uma means something that's easy, soft, relaxation, comfort. So وَنَعَّمَهُ would mean that He showered him with blessings over blessings over blessings you couldn't even count. But this is the shadda in na'amahu, meaning just abundant of blessings that just came upon him. Allah is saying this is what ibtila. It's a rough test. Now you know, when someone suffers loss of his parents, or a child, or he goes bankrupt, or he loses his job, or he becomes disabled, he becomes this. These are tests. These are ibtila. We know, all right? That's very simple. Why? Because it's a difficult situation. But someone would have thought that being honored among the people and having respect among the people and living in blessings, well, where's the test in that? How is Allah calling this ibtila? You see, why is Allah calling it ibtila? Why is it the toughest test? Because it's a test and you don't even know it. That's why it's a difficult. This is why Allah called it ibtila, because it's a test and you didn't even realize it's a test. So now how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach that the human being became corrupt? Allah gave him this ikram. Basically think of it like this. He's got a blessing outside the house and inside the house. Outside he's akramahu, he's honored, he's respected outside. And inside his house, na'amahu, he's got all types of blessings and comfort inside the house. Okay. How does this human being respond? Why is it a test? Why did he fail the test? He responded, he said, فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَكْرَمًا. فَيَقُول, he'll consistently say, my Lord akraman, my Lord honored me. But you see, with this Rabbi akraman, there's so much arrogance inside of these words that if you really wanted to thank Allah, you would have said akramani Rabbi. Not Rabbi akraman, akramani Rabbi you'd say. So in saying Rabbi akraman, it already implies there's arrogance. This is the other thing. What did Allah give him? What were the two things Allah gave him? Akramahu wa na'amahu. What did he thank Allah for? فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَكْرَمًا. What about wa na'aman? Where's the thanking of Allah that He blessed you? You know why? Because this human being, he thought the fact that I'm honored and I'm respected, well, I deserve what I have. I don't have to thank Allah for what I got. It's enough that Allah akraman, He honored me. Therefore, everything I have in my accounts, all cars I have, the wealth I have, the children I have, the wife I have, all that, well, I deserve it because, of course, I have honor. So the thing is, what caused the corruption is that the human being tied honor with the wealth he had. So the fact that he thought, I'm respectable and I'm noble, I deserve what I had, he didn't even thank Allah for what he had. He was just Rabbi Akraman. And he didn't even say Rabbi Akramani, my Lord honored me. He just said Rabbi Akraman, full stop. The ya is even missing. Meaning him thanking Allah wasn't even complete, right? He cut the na'amani part, and even Akraman didn't even thank Allah properly enough for the status and honor He gave him among the people, right? Now, this same human being, Allah says in the ayah after it, وَأَمَّا إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ, the same human being, the second time round, if Allah Azza wa Jal was to put him through a rigorous, rough test, but this time how? فَقَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ, He lessened his rizq. All of a sudden, his wealth is, his income is gone down, he lost his job and so on, he's got no more money. قَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ. Now, you see what's awesome to understand is the word qadara. Qadara means for something to lessen, right? Like Allah says, Allah yabsutu rizqa liman yasha wa yaqdir. Allah Azza wa Jal opens up the provision for who He wills, and yaqdir, He lessens He makes the budget tight. Alright. But you know what's beautiful in using this word? Allah could have said, نَقَصَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ خَفَضَ رِزْقَهُ, أُخِذَ رِزْقُهُ. But He used qadara. Because the word qadara also comes from the word qadr, which means the divine decree, what Allah decrees. In other words, Allah is teaching that when you all of a sudden lose wealth, that's because the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why it got lost. So He used a word that meant it got lost, and your provision became less, but He used the word that also meant it's tied to the qadr, so that the human being, if he really believes in Allah, really believes in the qadr, when his wealth is lost, when his wealth is gone, that's alright with him, because that's qadr. Allah Azza wa Jal already had decreed it for him. But anyway, this human being didn't realize this. فَقَدَرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقَهُ. How does he respond? He said, فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَهَانًا. he'll continuously over and over say, my Lord ahanan, he humiliated me. Look, my Lord doesn't love me anymore. He humiliated me. I had so much wealth and I lost it all. I had this many kids and I lost them all. I had this business, this job, and I lost it. So therefore Allah doesn't love me anymore. This is why this happened, right? Allah hates me. Now this mentality, straight after it, Allah Azza wa Jal says, Kalla. Right? Kalla. What does Kalla mean? Kalla, what's he saying no to? He's saying no to that mentality. In other words, no, that's wrong at all. Do not tie you being honored and noble and your wealth, don't tie it to that Allah loves you. فَيَقُولُ رَبِّي أَكْرَمًا, my Lord honored me. He loves me, that's why He gave me my status and my wealth. And if it reduced and it dropped and I had nothing and I lost the job and the wealth, that means my Lord hates me. Allah says, no, not at all. You know, how many people did Allah Azza wa Jal give and at the same time He hated as well? Qarun, Fir'aun and Haman. Qarun, how much wealth did Allah give him? He ascribed it and he said, this is أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. This wealth, I accumulated it. So on my own knowledge, I collected this money. It was my work, you know. Allah's got nothing to do with this. This is my qualifications, my experience in the job, my qualification, my knowledge, my connections, my people I know. This is why I made the money. This is mine. So what did Allah do to him? فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. He was gone. Right? And until now, him and his dwellings and his wealth is all sinking into the earth. Why? Because he thought the money he collected is because Allah loves him. And he didn't ascribe this wealth to Allah. He said, this is my experiences, my connections, the people I know, and the business and the trade and my experience, and this is mine. And Allah destroyed him. And Allah is saying, what destroyed the human being and the evil that began from the human being is when he started thinking this wealth, he owns it, and this wealth, he deserves it because Allah gave him that position he's got among society and among his friends. You know, we know him as, Allah, he's a good paddle beater, we'll go to him, right? And he's thinking, mashallah, Allah Azza wa Jal honored me with this. That's why I'm breaking in all this cash, because people know I've got honor among the people. And he doesn't ascribe it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the very same human being, when he loses that wealth and he loses that respect among the people, automatically he'll connect it to that Allah dislikes me, Allah doesn't love me anymore. But this is why Allah said qadara. This is part of the qadar of Allah upon you, that happened to you. And if you were to accept it as the qadar, then that will be the person that Allah loves. But if you were to ascribe it to that Allah hates me, then Allah is saying, Kalla, that is what brought the human being to evil. How many of the Sahaba were humiliated in front of Quraysh and were put onto the ground and were tortured and beaten to death? How many of the Sahaba would fall basically on the ground because they had nothing to eat? Did Allah hate them? Did Allah humiliate them? No, it wasn't the case. Allah loved those people, but that was qadara alayhi rizqah, was the decree of Allah. They accepted it, and therefore they were loved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the point of the two ayat is to teach that that type of mentality is what would bring tughyan inside a person. And you know, tughyan would lead to fasad, corruption. What would corruption lead to? These were mentioned in the previous surah, Surah Al-Ghashiyah. Allah said, إِلَّا مَن تَوَلَّى وَكَفَرَ. In other words, this is the equation. Tughyan, once you have that mentality about the wealth and about your honor, that would lead to tughyan, you'd rebel. Rebelling would lead to fasad. It would be fasad, corruption. That would lead to kufr, and that would lead to tawalla. You'll just turn away from everything and you'll be staying by yourself. I don't need no messenger, no wahi, no nothing. And this becomes a very serious crime against yourself and against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we always need to ascribe what we have, all of it to Allah. The honor you have, the respect you have among the people, this is from Allah. The wealth you have and the ni'mah you have is also from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And keep in your mind that it's a test. Allah said, إِذَا مَبْتَلَاهُ. It's not any test, it is the roughest test. When you have respect among the people and when you have ni'mah in your house. This is the toughest test. And to pass it, you will always need to ascribe it to Allah. Allah said, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. We will test you with good and with bad. So when you have something good, it doesn't mean that Allah loves you with it. Oh, that could be that could be the thing that will enter you Jahannam on the Day of Judgment. So you'll need to thank Allah for both of them. And if one day you were to lose them, don't ascribe it to that Allah hates you. Ascribe it to the fact that this is the qadr of Allah. He put me now through an obvious test, Right? Because the other one, you might not think it's obvious. How is it a test if I have money and I have honor? But now he puts you through an obvious test where you lost your wealth, you lost your honor, perhaps that could happen. Then you need to understand that this is that Allah has placed this on you, and do not say that He hated you. If you do that, that becomes a crime in itself. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.